You were listening to a Nerd Room podcast, a member of the Star Wars Commonwealth Podcast Network. Be sure to check out more from the Star Wars Commonwealth on the web at starwarscommonwealth.com and take your first steps into a larger world. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Nerd Room, where we talk all things comics and movies. This is episode number 81, part 2. We're discussing Star Wars at San Diego Comic-Con and D23. I'm your host, Tim.
I'm Troy.
This is the second part of episode 81. We split this episode into two parts, so we're able to capture all of the announcements from both the Marvel, DC, and Star Wars world, and we separated the two comic book movie franchises from Star Wars so that we can capture and discuss everything in somewhat more of condensed episodes. Now, we just finished recording the Marvel and DC, and it's almost 2 hours long, so it didn't get quite the condensed end that we wanted to here, but we have a lot of Star Wars news to talk about here as well, from the collecting, the book, as well as the behind-the-scenes reel released at D23. I'm starting to get really emotional these days about Star Wars, and this behind-the-scenes reel really did it for me. I don't know if it's the music or some of the speech from Carrie Fisher as far as being a family thing. It's just really hitting me, Star Wars, lately. Maybe more an emotional end than I really expected it to with these movies, and I'm not quite sure why that is. I don't know if I'm starting to see, the end of Han Solo, the end of Carrie Fisher as far as her character portrayal because of her untimely death. How are you feeling about Star Wars after these 2 weekends?
You know what? I'm feeling right back on track with Star Wars and kind of forgetting about the Han Solo behind-the-scene issues.
Yeah.
I think them dropping this footage is exactly what they needed to do and get everyone's mind, not necessarily off of Han Solo, but just back on track with like the main storyline, the feel-good, the emotional, the drama, the space adventure Star Wars story that it's all about.
Yeah, the saga story.
The sagas, exactly. So I really like this footage. I think they did a lot better of a job this time around than they did with, I think it was last year's Celebration with the Rogue One. Mm-hmm. Wasn't really fond of that one because everybody was craving that trailer. Mm-hmm. But here I think Rian Johnson and the team did just a great job of cutting a cool behind-the-scenes footage.
Do you think it's because you have emotional attachment to the characters in The Last Jedi? Like, we know Finn, we know Rey, like, we know these Daisy Ridley and John Boyega and Carrie Fisher here.
Yes.
And Mark Hamill actually getting speaking roles and all this. So I feel like there's this intimate connection with this behind the scenes.
Yes.
And we're seeing so much more of a universe developing in this Force Awakens, in this post-Return of the Jedi era that we haven't really seen before. And we're getting images of Canto Bight and everything that's coming into this, the creatures, all this. Like, we're getting so much from this behind the scenes, but then we're also layering in this added emotion, I think, to the characters, and we're seeing the interaction with John Boyega and Daisy Ridley, and like I said, every time Carrie Fisher comes on the screen and how they end this, it just really hits home for me.
It's powerful, and I think another reason why it connects so much with this trailer is it wasn't just so war-bound. I feel like Rogue One was, and I feel like this, as much as you love the characters of Star Wars, you really love these actors, and that's the big thing. You see their personalities. You see John Boyega and Daisy Ridley dancing. Yeah. You see Oscar Isaac, giving a kiss to Carrie Fisher. Like, you just get to see more of the actors and the actresses as opposed to, and this isn't to bash Rogue One, but the Rogue One was just very kind of one note, whereas this one goes everywhere.
Yeah, you forget sometimes when you watch these movies that these are also real people, right? Exactly. And to make chemistry work on screen, they have to have chemistry off screen as well. Yes. And this really makes me happy when I see this, that you've got Oscar Isaac, like you said, having intimate moments with Carrie Fisher. You've got John Boyega and Daisy. Like, you see so much there, and you see there's a scene in there where they have Mark Hamill sitting beside Rian Johnson, kind of having an intimate moment discussing the character of Luke Skywalker.
Right.
And you need to see that sometimes to remind you that, yes, this is a Star Wars movie, but it's also so much more than that.
It is.
And the love and the passion that goes into making these movies. Like, Rian Johnson has put 3 years of his life into this. And I just love seeing these behind the scenes. I think it puts the emotion back into Star Wars for me. It reminds me again that these are so much more than just movies to us.
Yeah.
This is a huge passion of us. We collect, we watch the movies, we discuss it almost every single week.
Right.
And seeing something like this that really hits home for me makes me really excited for The Last Jedi. Yeah, we are getting little tidbits of information. I try not to poke too much at these because I don't like to reveal stuff too much for myself, because you do get some things, they've blurred some images out, you get the creatures and all that, but I try not to read too much into it. But just seeing it all, just like, it reminds you how big this universe is and how just fantastic it is that we're getting another Star Wars movie here coming in December.
Yes, and that much closer to finishing a trilogy, another trilogy down. Almost there.
Man.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yep.
But before we get into a little bit more detailed discussion of the behind-the-scenes footage shown at D23, I thought we'd jump into some of the collecting, because this is something that you and I really are passionate about these days. We've been having quite a bit of luck on the pegs, at least I have, with the 40th anniversary. I filled out the majority of my collection. I'm only missing now the Jawa and the Death Squad Commander, and I've got a line on them. Local comic book shops got 4 of each in stock, so I'm not worried about that. I found the Stormtrooper and the Sand Person at retail, so I'm really excited there. I'll have the full set, and thanks to Rob Cast from over the Roman Podcast and over at the TSW Roundtable, he was able to hook me up with the Luke Skywalker X-Wing pilot from Celebration. This is the hardest one to get. I'm going to have a complete set of these, hopefully by the end of the month. I'm kind of trying to spread it out, but I'll have the full set of the vintage 6-inch card back. I'm really excited about that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm sure they can catch your display all there on the nerdroom.net, which will just be great to see. That Luke Skywalker, man, it's beautiful. That's probably up there, I'd say, with Revan.
Yeah.
You know, because those are the 2 hard guys to find.
Yeah, they are.
So that'll be great to see.
Yeah.
Will those be displayed, or will it be in the card backs at all times?
Card back all times.
Awesome.
As much as I would like to pull them out and display, like we saw the display at San Diego, they had them out in it and in package.
Yeah.
I would love to put this on display the way it's meant to be.
Right.
But I'm just not going to pull them out of the card backs.
No.
Like, I really, really am an inbox collector, and these scream leave inbox.
Yes.
And so that's where I'm going to leave them.
Nice.
I got to find a nice way to do it. And looking at what they displayed or how they displayed some of these at San Diego Comic-Con gives me some insight as to how I can do this with maybe some more acrylic casing or glass casing and maybe LED lights, and trying to highlight some of the nuances of what they're able to do with the card backs and all that. I think that really warrants some proper lighting and all that. You've got some nice stuff down here in your nerd room about with the lighting and all that, and I think I need to work some of that angle once I move into a house that I'm comfortable with.
For sure. But the great thing is with these card backs, they stand up so well by themselves,
yes,
right?
They've really catered these towards collectors.
Yeah.
And Hasbro, they had a big presence at San Diego Comic-Con this year, and we've got some announcements of some new 6-inch Black Series figures. The recent wave that's dropping is the Lando wave. We've got the Emperor Royal Guard, there's the Sand Person, a repack from the 40th anniversary in there, as well as the Qui-Gon Jinn. We've got some other characters that are kind of sitting out there. We know the Thrawn, which was an exclusive to San Diego, is coming out in your standard Black Series card backs. We also have the Hera that's kicking around out there, the Clone Commander Gree. So there's a few figures out there that are looking for a home in a wave. And San Diego really wasn't about revealing anything from The Last Jedi. We didn't really get anything outside of the Rey and Luke exclusive 2-pack from The Last Jedi. And I guess you could call the Luke kind of an Ep7, Ep8 type character.
Yeah, I'd say so.
This was revealed, it was kind of leaked actually before Thursday, before San Diego Comic-Con actually kicked off. And I was kind of skeptical as if it was actually just the packaging for Force Friday or if this was going to be an exclusive. It turned out to be an exclusive, which is going to be incredibly difficult to get our hands on here. And I'm guaranteeing that these will be released in the first wave of Force Friday. It just might not have the exclusive packaging. I think they are connected, actually. And HasbroToyShop.com will also be releasing all 3 of the exclusives, which include the Rey and Luke, the Landspeeder with formed by Luke, as well as the Thrawn with his big office, on their website. Now, originally it was supposed to be on August 14th, but I've heard some rumors that they're actually shifting that to September. So they're giving us a heads up this time around about when we can actually acquire the Black Series exclusives from HasbroToyShop.com. So there's going to be one more chance for us to get our hands on that. After that, a secondary market. But I will caution, play the cooler on this one a bit. Don't go rushing and get a bit excited that you're not going to get your hands on these, because you're going to overpay at this point in time. Wait a couple months. If they're $200 now, they're going to be $200 in a couple months. So wait and just see if the price does eventually drop on these things, because we all know the scalpers were there, were present at San Diego, and have grabbed up these exclusives and popped them right onto eBay.
Yeah, that's the crime.
Yeah.
Jeez, that really is.
What are your thoughts on the Rey and Luke exclusive set here from San Diego?
I love these. Ray looks really, really good. Luke doesn't look too bad. I like what they're doing. I'm guessing. Yeah, like you said, it's probably a 7-8 in episode 7 or 8.
Yeah.
The lightsaber is missing, so we'll have to see what that means. We had a chitter chatter on Twitter about what that is, so that'll be interesting. Rey has the lightsaber and the staff,
yes.
which is really interesting. They still keep poking that staff at you, that she still holds on to this thing.
Yeah, and you see in some of the behind the scenes footage that she is practicing with a lightsaber at times as well as a staff. So I'm wondering if she does battle with both at certain times, because the costume that she's got on here in this figure is something that's a bit more evolved, I think. At least the colors.
Yeah, the gray.
Yeah,
right?
from what she was wearing at the end of episode 7.
Yeah.
So it could be that she keeps the staff through a good chunk of the movie here in towards where she gets her new costume as well.
Right, and the hairdo looks like the episode 8
yeah.
hairdo, doesn't it? As opposed to the end of episode 7, she still had
those buns.
She still had the same buns, right?
Yeah. So this is a cool set, but it's not exclusive enough for me to go out and pay the extra money for just the sticker or whatever that's on it.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, we're going to get these in Wave 1 or Wave 2 or something. I would be surprised if they're not in Wave 1. So outside of the connected packaging, there's nothing here that screams I need to get these as a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive.
Yeah, especially the fact that pretty minimal on the accessories. I mean, really, you got her staff, her lightsaber, and then you have Luke and Rey.
Yeah, and you look at the other exclusives that will be eventually re-released, both the Speeder and the Thrawn, but they're not going to come with the exclusive pieces.
So Thrawn won't come with like the helmets and the little trinkets?
He's just going to come with the blaster.
Oh,
and it'll come in a single package, your standard Black Series, probably black and red or whatever it is.
Okay.
Right. So you're going to see those figures. And the Land Speeder, again, we're going to get. And I'm not going to pay $50, $100, $200 extra for the exclusive box.
Yeah.
And the few slight decal differences on the Land Speeder.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not really worth it. So if you're out there and if you're kind of pining over these exclusives, other than the Thrawn, I'm definitely not going to get, or even venture into looking at these.
No.
They're going to come eventually.
Yeah, Force Friday, I'm sure, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, you look at what they did a couple years ago in 2015, they had the first reveal of the First Order Stormtrooper. And that came in like really cool exclusive packaging.
Yeah.
Like it looked like almost like a hot toy or something the way it was packaged. It had the First Order Stormtrooper and it had a separate box for the blaster and that. And then they did the Jinn the following year, which was the same type of exclusive packaging, something that you're not going to get in retail stores. And so something more like that would intrigue me more.
Yeah.
Like even look at the Kylo Ren and Obi-Wan they did last year as well.
Yep.
They had that exclusive packaging with a few extra accessories.
Yeah, the General Leia or Princess Leia at the time.
Yeah.
That pop up.
Yeah, exactly. So those are the type of exclusives that I'll chase, not just slight variants on things.
Yeah.
The Thrawn, I'm going to let that one linger a bit. I'm going to definitely try to get it off of the Hasbro toy shop at retail.
Yeah.
But I haven't been ever successful, with the exception of the one year I got the Infinity Gauntlet from Thanos off the Hasbro toy shop.
Crazy.
From SDCC exclusive.
There you go.
I've never been successful with Star Wars. But they did reveal a lot of Star Wars 6-inch Black Series figures here. Nothing from The Last Jedi, which we did expect. Yeah. But one thing I want to discuss real quick is the diorama that they had set up. This thing was incredible. We've seen videos, all different people from different websites and that, throwing up videos of this thing. I want to build this down here in your basement.
Yeah, it's impressive, right?
Yeah, this was a 40th anniversary. This was numerous scenes, everything from the Millennium Falcon to the trash compactor scene, the scene with the Sand People with Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, there was a lot packed in here. I didn't realize that there was this many A New Hope Black Series action figures out there until they put this diorama together. And I was like, wow, they've covered the majority of the big scenes from that original movie.
Yeah, everything's covered in there. It's so cool. And the plus here is to see how well Hasbro's figures really work together.
Yeah.
You know, the poses that they pull off here are just, they're great. They're fantastic. And the diorama is just, it's incredible.
Yeah, and if you look at or watch the panel, the Hasbro panel, the guys go through in a bit of detail how they rendered this digitally and how they put it all together and they're gluing everything. And they're saying like it was right up until the last minute. This thing was being loaded onto the truck and they're still gluing pieces onto it. Like the detail here and how much they paid attention to like the small minute points of this, like it just makes it that much better. I'm so disappointed I wasn't able to see this in person.
What do you think they do with these displays after?
I have no idea. I hope that they go somewhere.
They have to, right?
And they put them up, whether it's in their offices or like they need to put it on display somewhere. Like,
those are cool though.
yeah,
Jeez.
set it up in Disneyland or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was awesome.
It's great. I think even the Marvel panel had something similar to with their figures.
Yeah. They did do a same thing, but it was a lot more cluttered, I felt.
It was, and it was a little mismatched because I noticed they were gluing characters onto things, whereas the Hasbro Star Wars line solely relied on what the figures could do.
Yeah. With the exception, there's a couple custom, like as you mentioned before we recorded, that it looked like that at one point in the trash compactor scene that Luke had slick back hair.
Yes, exactly.
Which he doesn't
totally
have.
did.
And then there's a helmet from the Jedi training scene in the Millennium Falcon with the little ball. I don't think we've gotten that on any character. I can recall.
like the Jedi training helmet.
Like the helmet, the ball with the blaster shield down, the little ball.
Yeah, I've never seen that on any figure.
No, so they did seem to have some customs in there to fit the scenes.
Because these aren't like any things that would be coming out. Like these aren't any lines that would be coming out.
I don't think so.
I doubt it.
No.
Right, it's just all to display what they've had already.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it was awesome looking.
It was good. It's great.
But the reveals. So we had several 6-inch Black Series figures revealed. One was a 6-inch Rebel Fleet Trooper. These are the troopers that Vader destroys at the end of Rogue One. And I don't know if it's going to be packed in the Rogue One packaging or the normal Black Series, because this figure is actually going to come with a Death Star card.
Oh,
that was
shoot.
being passed off in Rogue One.
Yes. So it should be the Rogue One one.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool to build up a line of those guys and just have a Vader.
I'm really surprised the
slashing.
diorama. I know it was because it was the 40th anniversary, but that would have looked awesome if they had maybe even switch it halfway through and they just had all these guys getting chucked around by Vader.
Yeah, have one guy like glued at the top.
Yeah. Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
So cool. And then we had a Black Series 6-inch Captain Rex from the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
This looks pretty cool.
So cool. I love this one.
Yeah.
So unique for all those trooper builders out there.
Yeah, and Timo Morrison, I think they did a lot of scanning of his face to get the kind of that exact look behind him.
Yeah, it looks even better than the Jango Fett
yeah.
face, right? Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. I want a Captain Rex real sculpt from Rebels.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
I really want that one.
Yeah, that was good.
That'd be great.
We've got General Leia Organa from Episode 7. So this is a great figure. I'm going to really hunt for this one. We've got Mace Katana as well was announced. Yeah. This is a much shorter figure. It's going to be packaged in the normal Black Series. It's going to be a Yoda-like size.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
So it's going to be Mace Katana floating in a big bubble.
Yeah.
And then we've also got, continuing with the 6-inch deluxe sets, we've got a 6-inch dewback with a Sand Trooper. Now the Sand Trooper comes from, I think, Wave 1 of the Black Series. And so that's going to be a repack within this kind of a dewback. So we're getting another creature. We've gotten the Wampa in the past. We've also got the Tauntauns. Yes. So we're continuing to build the creatures here. This is one I'm definitely going to be chasing. Overall, what are your thoughts on the 6-inch reveals, albeit lacking some of the Last Jedi?
Yeah, no, it looks pretty decent. It's kind of crazy that we didn't get a Leia. You know, now thinking back to The Force Awakens, like why we didn't get a General Leia in the first place. But I guess this is geared towards more Episode 8. Actually, it can't be, though, because Episode 8...
You're getting Clone Wars, 2 Episode 7 figures, and a Rogue One figure.
Yes, it's kind of crazy that she never came out with the original line. But I guess they really want to, focus on the new characters and push them out.
And I love that they're always spanning multiple eras.
Yes.
It's not just all, again, focused on Episode 7 or Rogue One. We're getting a nice spanning here with Captain Rex. We've got a lot of clone troopers in the past. Yeah. But it's nice to get one with a removable helmet.
Yes, exactly. Which is why I might have to get 2 of these. Because Rex is, he's definitely my favorite trooper out there. So, I have to get that.
Yeah, and Hasbro's also going to be continuing the 3 3/4-inch 5 POA line, which I really like. They've had a lot of success, at least for me, from the Rogue One line and the Episode 7 line. We're going to see them revisiting characters that were harder to get. We're getting kind of Luke Skywalker with a Hoth, or with a Wampa, that's going to be released in that scale. They get Boba Fett's coming back, and Han Solo and Bespin. So they're revisiting the original trilogy with this line, as well as the Vintage Collection. Now, this is something that was announced back at, was it Celebration or New York Toy Fair? I can't remember exactly when they announced this, but the big buzz around this was the fact that we had the opportunity to vote for the first figure, one of the first figures is coming out in this line, and the fan choice figure was Dr. Aphra. Right. And we got a bit more insight here at San Diego Comic-Con as towards the other figures that are going to be in this first wave, or this first line. We're getting a Rey, a Kylo Ren, a First Order Stormtrooper, and Dr. Aphra is going to be the 4th figure released in this The Force Awakens vintage-looking line. And they also announced, too, that they're going to be doing this vintage line for the Rogue One figures as well. So the Rogue One in vintage title, the card back, and we're going to get Jyn Erso, Cassian Andor, Death Trooper will all be re-released. So these are repackaging of the figures. But actually, maybe not. These might be the repackaging of the Black Series Walmart exclusive highly articulated figures. Because the vintage line is going to be highly articulated, not 5 POA.
Oh, okay.
So my worry here is the price point's going to be upwards of $14.
Yeah, with the more articulation you get.
Yeah, so that's going to really push me back from this line. I'm going to definitely get the Afra, and there's a few other figures here. But if they're up in that price point of $14, I don't know if I'm going to dive into this.
Yeah, that's quite a bit, especially when you can think now a lot of these Black Series 6 inches are on sale for $15.
Yes.
Right, so that's crazy. The Boba Fett you mentioned, have we not gotten a 3 3/4 in that yet?
Well, we've gotten multiple.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure in this 5 POA line because
okay.
they seem to be just going back and revisiting different eras. So
Right.
I'm not exactly sure what the packaging is going to look like.
Yeah.
But they're just kind of, again, as Star Wars does, they just continue to revisit some of these figures and kind
Touch
of
them
update.
up.
And this 5 POA line, it's got a little momentum. I think people are coming a bit more on board with it because of the price point, as well as it kind of reminds people of what the original vintage line, and that's why I really like it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a fan of the vintage line. I love the card backs. So hopefully continuing with bringing out nicely designed card backs that can match what they've done with the Force Awakens and Rogue One lines, and presumably what they're going to do with the Last Jedi as well. Because I've gotten every single one of those.
That's right.
So I'm not, and again, it comes down for the most part is I like the figures, but they're $7.
Right.
You know, sometimes they're upwards of 10, but if
Yeah.
you wait long enough, they go on sale. Like they're on sale for like $4 now.
Holy smokes. A lot of these people with the 3 1/4, do you find it's more so straight up collecting in box as opposed to like 6 inch, whether it's the Marvel, the DC, the Star Wars? I find a lot of people unbox them. Do you find with the 3 3/4 that's strictly in boxed?
Well, I don't really know that many other people that collect 3 3/4 inch.
Yeah.
I keep all mine in box because I love the card back look to it.
Yeah.
I find that with the 3 3/4 inch, if you pull them out and you put them on a shelf, it looks cluttered to me.
Yeah.
Like I don't like that look of rows upon rows upon rows of action figures.
Right.
It doesn't look right to me.
Yeah.
That's why I find in box it kind of looks cleaner.
Yes.
And you can compare the two dioramas that we did see from San Diego. Is the Marvel looked cluttered to me,
Yeah.
and the Star Wars was subtle and really clean.
It was
looking.
really clean. Yeah.
That's how I like to set up things, even if that requires me to rotate things out.
Yeah.
That's how I like to do it. And the only ones that I'll ever put up kind of in rows like that is a really nice displayed vintage collection.
Okay.
I think
yeah.
that's justified because being loose and you can't really collect card back unless you got a whole bunch of money.
Yeah.
So that's the only time I think I'll do loose. And I do the Marvel Legends loose as well.
And at least, with the 6 inch ones, there's so much articulation that you can
Yeah.
pose them as opposed to 3 3/4. There's not much you can really do with the posing.
No, like
right?
especially the 5 POA, you can't do a lot with that.
No.
So I'm an inbox for that.
Yeah.
The only other thing they're doing with the 3 3/4 inch, they're putting out a Rathtar that's that scale. as
Okay.
well. Looks kind of funny. You can shove characters in his mouth.
Yeah.
But
That's cool. That's cool.
it's interesting. The 3 3/4 inch line is something that I'm never going to get away from.
Yeah.
It was a line that I was quite disappointed when they started kind of veering away from them in the Marvel, as far as the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
They went to like a 2.5 inch line for a
Right.
while, or 2 inch line, and they've got to come back to the 3 3/4 inch. I'm happy with the 5 POA with the price point. We'll see with this vintage collection, but I'm definitely all over the Black Series.
Oh, yeah. Always.
Yeah. And shifting away from the collecting world into something a little different for Star Wars. This is something that was announced at D23, and we've been talking about for quite a while now, is Star Wars Land. We finally got a name for it. Galaxy's Edge. Fantastic name. This is going to be a brand new planet that they're bringing to the Star Wars universe. Hopefully that it's mentioned in Rebels or in a book somewhere to kind of put it into canon.
Yeah.
It's nice that they're going and creating kind of this new world, though. It's Smuggler's World, I guess it's called. We watched the fly-through video here not too long ago, and it looks gorgeous. Like, this thing's 14 acres. It's the biggest expansion ever, the biggest single park for Disneyland, for Disney World, and the immersion that we're going to get here. This is something that Disney really focused in on when they're discussing this at their panel, is that they're talking about this Disney 360 and this full and complete immersion into Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And you're going to have characters running around, droids, all this whole immersive kind of experience that you're getting from this looks absolutely incredible. 2019 cannot come soon enough.
Yeah, this is crazy. This is like, every now and then you get those movies and the movies that you're anticipating and they finally go into production and then it gets real and you're really like, this movie's coming out sooner than I thought. This is how I feel with this park right now, is that stuff's getting real. It's coming out 2019 and seeing this whole demonstration of what this park can do. This is phenomenal.
Yeah.
This is like everyone's dream, is to like go
Exactly.
on the set of Star Wars.
Yeah,
really,
we're going to
right?
go to the cantina You know?
Exactly.
And we're going to go and see a full-scale Millennium Falcon. They're talking about the scale of these things. Like, it's going to feel like you're in the hangar of a Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
And the two main attractions are going to be centered around a Resistance versus First Order battle, as well as hopping into the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah,
like, we've all been wanting to do this for our entire lives. Imagine going to hyperspace in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
It's going to be incredible.
Oh, man. I just can't wait for this. 2019 can't come soon enough. This looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
And who else better to do it than Disney?
Exactly.
Right?
Like, the detail that's going to be in this, just from this model is enormous. If you look at the pictures online, just relative scale to a person, this thing must have been 60 feet long. Like, it's humongous.
Huge. Yeah.
And and it's so cool with this idea of Galaxy's Edge, and it's supposed to be a planet on the outer rim and all that, which makes sense with the name. And because it's not something that's like steeped in canon, like with Tatooine or something like that, that they have this freedom to kind of mix the different eras of Star Wars. It's not going to be all of the Episode 7 era. It's going to be a mixture. We're going to see characters that we're familiar with, like R2 units, and hopefully BB-8. Hopefully we get some of the Cantina band, and they kind of integrate everything that we're familiar with. You do see some more of the influence from that Episode 7 era with, there's a First Order TIE Fighter you see parked there at one point. You see the blue X-Wing. So that's something from Episode 7 as well. So we're going to see heavy influence from what we're getting today. But we know Disney, and we know how they like to play on nostalgia and all that. They're going to be integrating things from the prequel era and, of course, from the original trilogy.
Oh, for sure. And it just has that touch of A New Hope where it looks like it's been lived in.
Exactly.
Honestly, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And the other thing that the chairman announced here was something that seems now, as it's announced, that, of course, they're going to do it. It's a Star Wars-themed hotel.
Yes.
So this is going to be in Orlando, Florida. The nice thing about California is it's getting the 2019 opening sooner in Disneyland. But Orlando's also getting the Star Wars land, sorry. And they're also getting the hotel down there. And this is interesting. So this is going to be a luxury resort hotel, and this is going to be completely Star Wars themed. They put some concept art up on it, and holy man, like, this is a must.
Crazy,
for families, for all of us. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be very expensive. Like, I've heard numbers of a weekend package of upwards of $2,000+ for a family. For a couple
Crazy,
nights.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about this, and I'm not still completely clear as to exactly what they're doing here, and this again plays on this Disney 360 thing. They're talking about 100% immersive experience, which means that when you go to the hotel, you essentially get a character and you become part of the story within the hotel.
Wow.
So every part of your day and what you do influences what's going to happen next. So it seems like a cool concept. It's going to be an expensive concept.
Oh, yeah.
But to just do this once in your life and have that experience, man, like, I cannot wait for this. Like, this whole idea that in a couple years we're going to have a park, something that's 14 acres that we can go wander around in, that feels like you're sitting, or that you're actually in a Star Wars planet with X-Wings and TIE
Wookiees.
Fighters and Wookiees and droids, IG-88 wandering around, all this. Like, it blows my mind. And then potentially a couple years later, they haven't really announced a timeline for this hotel, we're going to get a hotel that we can go stay in that is Star Wars themed. Yeah. This is unimaginable.
Blows my mind.
Like, think about 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Would you ever expected that this is the world that we'd be living in when it comes to Star Wars?
Not at all. I remember hearing, like, Disney bought out Star Wars. I was even second guessing, okay, like, maybe we'll get a movie or two. Maybe we'll get a trilogy. Now we've gone full tilt with the comics, to the novels, to the toy lines, to now a living, breathing world of Star Wars that you can live in and walk around in and just enjoy and experience. So this is crazy. And they're probably not stopping here. I'm sure there's a lot more going on behind the scenes that we just don't know about yet.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to take our families.
Oh, it's going to be incredible. It's going to be incredible.
Oh, man. The girls will be a little bit older, and they'll hopefully be
it.
fully into Star Wars at this point.
Get them in that Jedi Academy.
Yeah. Chasing around BB-8. Costing us a fortune.
Yeah.
It's going to be a ton of fun.
It'll be worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, 2019, that is the year. That's probably the next year we're going to get a celebration as well.
That's right.
Hopefully it's in Anaheim. We can kind of tag all this together and make
works so much
one
better.
Massive trip. Oh,
that makes sense. Yes.
So exciting. What a time to be a Star Wars fan.
Always.
Huge collecting announcements. Huge announcements from Disneyland, from Star Wars hotels. And at San Diego, we also got lots of announcements for the Journey to the Last Jedi books. And this is something that you and I have been trying to keep up with. I'm starting to fall behind here, man.
Yeah. I'm sinking.
I'm halfway through Thrawn. We just had Inferno Squadron drop, I think today, the 26th. Yeah, so
Tuesday.
That just dropped today. I've still got Rebel Rising to get through.
Yeah.
And now we've got a series of at least 6 books that are going to be dropping from September 1st through to December 15th that are part of this, or at least what I would consider the important canonical novels that are part of this journey to the Last Jedi.
Yeah.
And the books that we are already familiar with are the Princess Leia, or Leia Princess of Alderaan, done by Claudia Gray.
Yes.
On the panel, she did shed a little bit of light onto this. This is going to be her origin story with regards to the rebellions. We did see her a little bit in Rebels, and we've got some insight from A New Hope that she was kind of this leader by the age of 19. This is going to be how she got started in the rebellion. And Claudia Gray, another great insight that she provided at the panel was that we're going to get a lot of insight towards Bray and Bail Organa. We're going to get of an origin story from them too, an origin story for Alderaan. That's at least an aspect of Star Wars that I haven't really ever read before. I'm not sure if there was some legend stuff that they'd done, but for this new canonical universe, this is going to be our first shot at understanding Alderaan culture and what Bail and Bree were like and the building of the rebellion. Like, we've got a lot of that essence from Rebels, but it's going to be interesting to see it from the perspective of Leia and Bail.
See, that's cool. This is what I really wanted and I felt was lacking from Rogue One is Alderaan. I really want to feel and see that planet.
Yeah.
Especially because it's huge importance of what happens, obviously, following in episode 4. So the fact that Claudia, and who better to do it, Claudia Gray, to tackle this book is fantastic, because I'll say it and I'll plug it every time here on this podcast. Go out there and read Bloodlines. Go out there and read Lost Stars, because Claudia Gray just knocks it out of the park. She's one of my favorite writers of all time for Star Wars. So I can't wait to pick up this book. This is like my number one anticipated book, I'd say.
Yeah,
for sure.
I agree.
Yeah.
Claudia Gray, every time. Each book I've read, she's awesome.
Great.
And she's got this voice of Leia.
Yeah.
She's able to put that to paper so well.
For sure. And these levels, right? We had Leia like as an older Leia, and now we're going to get her as a younger Leia. Just can't wait.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And the other book that is going to focus in on one of our big 3 here is The Legends of Luke Skywalker. Now, we've talked about this in the past. We've got new cover art for here, the final cover art, and didn't really get much insight from here, but I'm really thinking that this is going to kind of bridge some of the time between The Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, or at least Episode 8, The Last Jedi here. We're going to get some of that understanding as where Luke's been. We've got some offhanded remarks in different books, Bloodlines and a few others, of where Luke's kind of been. He's kind of been out searching for Jedi temples, training with Ben and all that.
Jedi trees.
Exactly.
Or Force trees.
Exactly, Force trees. So it's going to be cool to see some of the stories hopefully told post Return of the Jedi. The whole Aftermath trilogy does not really address Luke at all, other than the fact that he's off kind of doing his thing.
Yeah.
Which is a bit weird, because you look at the Thrawn trilogy, it was heavily focused in on Luke Skywalker and him being around post Return of the Jedi as the New Republic is being built up, kind of this legend of Luke Skywalker. So it's going to be interesting here. And the one thing I want to point out here, it's the legends of, so it's plural. So we're going to get probably multiple stories of him in different eras of the kind of his timeline there.
Right. Yeah, this one's kind of interesting. I mean, like, Luke is such a big focal point of Star Wars, and I feel like we haven't really begun enough of him. And I know we don't want too much of him, but I think we need more of him. Yeah. And, I thought they were on the right track with Shattered Empire, with Luke's story there with the Force trees and whatnot. And then you've read the Aftermath series. There's been pretty much zero mention.
He gets one or two offhanded references, and there's that one point I think Leia tries to communicate with him through the Force.
Right.
But other than that, nothing.
Yeah, we haven't gotten much. And I mean, the legends of Luke, I mean, Skywalker, that's okay. But I'd really like to just get a nice, coherent story from episode 6 up to episode 7. Yeah. I really want to know what's been going on there. The Star Wars comic books are doing a great job right now bridging the gap between episode 4 and 5, which is cool. But I think it's crucial that we need something from episode 6 to 7, and I don't really want it in the scattered kind of telling of like, well, when Luke was 5 on Tatooine, he was doing this, and then we jump over here and he's doing this.
Yeah, I
and,
see what you mean. A little
disjointed, especially when we've already had like the journals of Obi-Wan in the odd issues of Star Wars. He always talks about a younger Luke, so. Yeah, I don't know how I feel too much about it. I'm obviously going to pick it up, though.
Yeah, definitely. And the last book that we'll talk about here that we've already seen before is Phasma. This is another one. This is by Delilah S. Dawson. I'm really excited for this one. This comes out September 1st, I believe, with Force Friday 2.
Yes.
And this is going to tell a bit of the backstory of Phasma, something that I'm quite interested in because I think she's going to have a bit bigger part in The Last Jedi.
I'd say.
And this is a character that we were promised a lot of in The Force Awakens. Didn't really get there, but we're getting the comic book as well that kind of ties her story between the Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, and this is going to go back and tell a bit of her origin story. So this is another crucial book. I wouldn't say for building into The Last Jedi, but it is a crucial book for understanding a character that we're all quite fond of, even though she kind of has this air of Boba Fett to her, right? She was kind of barely in it. She's got a cool costume, and I just want to see more of her and understand like where she came from, where the chrome armor came from.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'll probably pick this book up. I still kind of want to see what they offer from her character in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
And then from there, I'll probably go back to the book and see.
And that's something that I'm probably going to have to do anyways, because
Yeah.
I'm not going to have time to blow through all the novels that I'm currently reading, as well as this prior to getting to The Last Jedi. So this might be, like you said, a nice return novel once you see how the character develops in The Last Jedi.
Yes.
Yeah. And 2 other key canonical novels. So there's a lot of like visual guides and young reader adaptations and kind of little stories and all that were presented at the Lucasfilm Publishing panel. But the 2 other books that I think are going to be somewhat important, whether you read them before or slightly after. Actually, you're not going to have any time to read them before because they both drop on December 15th along with the movie. The first one here is Star Wars The Last Jedi Cobalt Squadron. Now, this is going to be about the squadron of bombers. I think this is the B-Wing bombers that we do see in the first Last Jedi trailer with the red kind of streaming behind them. And it's going to be focused in around, it looks like, at least from the cover, Kelly Marie Tran's character of Rose, who's one of the bomber pilots here. And it looks like it's going to be, I think it's kind of one of these young reader types, like similar to the Before the Awakening book and the Baze and Chirrut book as well, where it looks like it's going to be something that's a bit shorter, a bit easier to get through, and it's going to add some of that kind of like supplemental material to a character that looks like, at least from the behind the scenes, is going to be somewhat present throughout the whole story of The Last Jedi.
Right.
And then the last book that they did announce is an interesting book. So we've heard a lot and we've seen a lot of images from Canto Bight. So this is this kind of casino world that they're building up. And we see it kind of being this kind of unique take on what maybe we'd more liken to like a Coruscant or something, this high class, right? So it's something that when you look at everything else in The Last Jedi, we've got kind of this, the color palettes are really turning to these reds and that, but this almost stands out as something very different within The Last Jedi.
Yes.
And this book here, it's we don't have a cover, so we don't really know exactly what it's going to be about. But one thing that we do know is that it's got 4 authors, and it's going to be 4 different short focus stories on individual aliens or characters within The Last Jedi to kind of give you a feel for this Canto Bight, for this casino world. Cool. So it's kind of a cool take, I think. Like, I like the idea of 4 different stories of a world that we really know nothing about. So it's going to give us some of that insight, I guess, post The Last Jedi. But it's going to be cool to revisit this, I think. Yeah,
see, that book will be interesting. I don't know if I'll totally invest in it or not. But, you know, going back again to Claudia Gray here with Bloodlines, there's some really cool moments in that book where she goes over, I believe Leia was playing some kind of card game that she learned through Han and how to wheel and deal against certain other opponents.
Sabak?
Was it? I think it was. Yeah. I think it was that, right? So there's that kind of cool like world and dialogue that was going on that maybe that would be enough to intrigue me to pick up this book if we got more of that kind of stuff. Yeah. That hustling going on. So yeah, I might pick that up. Yeah, all of these books too, they call them The Journey to the Last Jedi. And for me, I think the reason I really like these books is because it enriches my experience for the movies, and this is why I try to get through them as much as possible. For like we did with Catalyst, Rogue One, is that it enhances that experience, and it kind of gives you a little bit more insight, because we're always kind of clamoring for more of that lore in Star Wars. And the big way that we get it is through the novels. Yes. And through the comic books. Like, we do have the movies, and they kind of build up kind of the major foundations, but I love that expansive material in and around. And Star Wars has kind of always been about that. Yeah. Going back into the Legends and now into the new canonical material. And I'm excited that we have upwards of 6 books that we could potentially read to add to the greater story of The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi era. Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's just a matter of having that time and crunching right through. Exactly. Yeah. And from the comic book world, too, they didn't have as many announcements as I thought they would. I was expecting something, maybe another one of these short 5-issue miniseries that kind of led into The Last Jedi.
But we did see it looks like issue number 3 for Mace Windu, the Jedi of the Last Republic. So that looks like an interesting story. I'm definitely going to be picking up this.
Yes.
But they also announced and they showed a beautiful cover for the adaptation of the Timothy Zahn Thrawn novel that's just dropped. And I don't know how long this series is going to be. Just based on the book, it's going to be, I would say, between 5 and 10 issues if they're able to hit on everything. It's cool. I love it because I love Thrawn, and it's going to be cool to put some, at least, art behind some of the characters that I have in my mind.
Yes.
But is this exactly something that I want? I wouldn't say yes.
No.
But I'm definitely going to take it, especially with this number 1 issue.
Yeah, I'll definitely pick it up because I haven't picked up that Thrawn book yet, so I'll definitely pick up this issue. I'm wondering though, with all this Thrawn we're getting, could this be the end of Thrawn? Could we see the end of Thrawn in the final season of Star Wars Rebels with this much focus on the character, this much push from the figures, from the books to the comic books now even?
I really hope not.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything for you.
Oh, okay.
So,
for the book. Yeah.
Well, there's nothing really in the book that I've gone through, but there's an aspect of Thrawn's character, more of his origins, that might lead us to believe that he could be somewhere else during the events of the original trilogy.
Okay.
So I do see them. I haven't got to the end of Thrawn. I'm about halfway through it.
Yeah.
So I do see them kind of crafting a way where they could place Thrawn outside of the events of the original trilogy to the point where he could come back.
Okay.
Do I think they're going to do that? Probably not.
Yeah.
But like you said, they've been putting a lot of material behind Thrawn lately.
Yeah.
And with the action figures and everything, like, I'd like to see him survive. I'd love to see him pop up later on down the road.
For sure, because one season's not enough, and I'm sure not a book is either.
No, and we're getting seasons. Well, we're only getting 10 more, maximum 10 more episodes of Thrawn, right?
Exactly.
In Rebels.
Yeah.
And what happens beyond there, I don't know.
You don't know. Yeah.
Don't know.
Have to wait and see.
Yeah, so it's been a busy couple of weeks for Star Wars, and San Diego Comic-Con, even though Lucasfilm wasn't present from the film end, we did get a lot of announcements, like the collecting and the books and all that, and that's something that has really excited me. But the big reveal for the past couple of weeks was really D23. We started off the weekend with 6 or a couple new posters at least, focusing in on our main heroes and Kylo Ren. And one of the themes that seems to be coming out of not only the first Last Jedi trailer, this behind the scenes, as well as these posters, is the color of red. And remember when they first announced the title card, it was red too. People were freaking out about this. What are your thoughts, and what do you think all of this red could mean? We're seeing that from, I think it's Creed or whatever it's called, the kind of had that image from the back, or the behind the scenes where you have the blasting of the red powder and all that.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Is this a Sith thing? Is this a blood-related thing? Is this...
I really don't know, because I don't think we've seen the end of Sith, even though that was basically what the Chosen One's destiny was to do, to end the Sith. But I just don't know if we've seen enough of them. The blood's interesting if you look at it that way, if this is like more family related, if there's some issues going on. Well, there's obviously issues going on, but if that's the focus, is family,
like bloodlines type things,
exactly. And
it's kind of all this much larger theme. I don't know if we're reading into it too much, but it's prevalent right through all of the trailers, the behind the scenes, the posters, everything. Like all the characters that have red on them, like none of them wear red in anything that we've seen yet.
Exactly. So
it's interesting.
It's like the tone they're setting, right?
Yeah. So with that being said, though, let's talk a little bit more detail about this behind the scenes. We kind of hit off the top that we both really liked the emotional aspect that this behind the scenes does bring. And would you have preferred a proper trailer, or do you like? I know we both like this, but in place of a trailer, do you like this?
Yeah, this actually works. Normally I would be the one to go for, no, I want the trailer. But again, I really got to say, like, I like what the direction they took with this trailer as opposed to the Rogue One. I feel like this is a nice gap that we'll have between now and the next Last Jedi trailer we will receive. And I think when we get that one, it'll be a major payoff. So for now, I think this is good. This is just kind of brings you right back to the world of the new trilogy, gets you familiar with the actors and the actresses, and the new story arc they're going.
Definitely. Now, they reveal a lot of creatures in this, and this is something that Star Wars has always been about, is creatures. We get kind of that space horse, we get that fox, or that crystal fox.
That's cool.
Which screams Dave Filoni.
Right. Oh, yeah, big time.
We get the porgs, and we get all these new creatures from Canto Bight and all that. a lot of practical, not a lot of CG. It looks like at least there's going to be supplemented with CG.
Yeah.
Do you like that they're building up this kind of creature shop again within the world of The Last Jedi?
I do, if we get to really see them.
Yeah.
Again, going back to The Force Awakens, they showed us some really cool, practical-looking aliens, but we didn't really get to like see
Just
them
in the background.
Yeah, so I really hope we get to interact with them more so, and if that's the case, I'm totally on board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the look of these, and I think it's going to be a lot of background again.
Yeah.
I don't know how much impact they're actually going to have in the film.
Right.
Like that Crystal Fox, my guess is on Canto Bight somewhere.
So cool looking.
And the Space Horse looks awesome too. The scale of these things, the fact that they've gone back to the practical
Yes.
and kind of carried on with what they built in The Force Awakens with kind of this practical and supplementing with CGI where possible or where needed.
Yes.
I think that really benefits the film. It kind of grounds it a bit more. And I'm happy that they continued with that and haven't, at least with the directorial change, that they haven't changed how they approached the movie. They seem to have at least this similar idea behind how we're going to craft the scenes and craft the creatures and how we're going to build all this around practical effects like they did in the first or the original trilogy, and kind of carried that through here. That's and again another comforting piece to me that they put the time and effort into building that.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it just it makes the movie age a little better too. I mean, if you look back even at The Force Awakens, which I think did a great job and still one of my favorites, but there was that horrible scene. I don't want to say horrible, but it wasn't the greatest use of CG when they did the Han Solo. For those monsters, those aliens.
The Rathars.
The Rathars.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
that
don't
felt
look so
out
well.
of place.
Yeah, exactly.
These feel in place at least.
Yes.
From the behind the scenes that we're seeing here.
Yes.
They feel like they fit into the universe that Rian Johnson has crafted here.
Yes, I think we're in good hands.
Yes,
for sure.
Definitely. And it's an interesting point there. So Rian Johnson, you listen to this, you listen to what Daisy Ridley has to say about things being shocking but right for the franchise.
Yes.
We've heard things from Mark Hamill about the direction of Luke Skywalker in this film.
That he thought he knew where Luke was going and they're taking him somewhere else.
Yeah. And you see this being a bold take on a Star Wars film. And you wrap that up into a lot of discussion that's been happening, even within the Commonwealth recently, about the direction of Star Wars after The Force Awakens here. Could we be taking the Force in a different direction? Could we be taking the entirety of the franchise into some new area that has been unexplored before? Are you ready for a dramatic shift in Star Wars, in this movie? Or are you expecting this to be more of... I don't want to say status quo because that implies that they haven't evolved or developed the movie, but are you ready to step away from what we would traditionally call or expect from Star Wars into something that maybe Rian Johnson has crafted that is very different than we're used to?
Well, that's a big one. That's tough because it's spent like so many years, 40 years,
Yeah.
with the Force and how we all interpret it. But you know what? I think I am. If we do go another route, so if we do go somewhere different with the Force going forward now with the new trilogy, that's cool. But if you go back to like the Old Republic and give us some of those movies to still hold on to like the original Force and the ways of the Jedi and the Sith that we know, then that'll work for me because you can always kind of hold on to those other movies if we can establish that. If not, if you just go in a completely new direction and you don't give us any more history because the new canon's kind of wiped out like the old legends, right? So if they don't touch upon that and we just get a new direction, that might feel a little weird for me. If there's too much of like this Bendu kind of stuff going on, then that will take a toll. For me at least, it would. Yeah. How about you guys?
I'm kind of sitting on maybe the outside here.
Yeah.
I'm ready for what Rian Johnson, or at least I think I am. I've prepared myself for a shift in what we, or at least our understanding of the Force is. I see them really seeding this a lot.
Yeah.
Even in Rogue One with Leia Urso, and what they're doing in Rebels right now with Kanan and the Bendu and Ahsoka. And what we saw in the Ahsoka book as well. Like, I think that they're trying to at least bridge this idea of that the Force isn't exactly what we thought it was or what we've interpreted it to be over the last 40 years.
Right.
And I'm kind of ready for a bold new step. Like, I want to feel like we're always in a Star Wars movie. And yes, I do have this personal attachment to my own interpretation of the Force.
Yeah.
But it's not so much so that I'm not willing to accept something different, a different take, a different approach. So does this worry me that they're going to go in a maybe a different direction than I'm expecting? I don't think so. I think that's exciting storytelling.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of pumped for it.
Yeah. And I guess going back to when Star Wars first came out, the world was maybe not the world, but storytelling maybe then was a little bit more black and white.
Yeah.
You know, good, bad, evil versus good. Whereas now it's kind of gone different ways where things are a little more intricate, and you also have like the gray in the middle too. That just more ways you can explore the Force. So yeah, you know, I like you said, it's good storytelling if we can see where they're going to go with it, as long as they execute it properly.
That's what it comes down
to.
to.
Because they have to tread the waters carefully here, because going back to the prequels, you know, not everybody responded so well to where they took the direction of Star Wars back then.
Yeah.
So now a lot of it's kind of course correcting and staying on target.
Yeah.
Right?
Course correcting and then evolving into something different.
Yes.
Something, telling a different story. And, you know, leveraging what they have in the past, but also paving their own way.
Exactly.
So I can see that here.
Yeah.
There's a lot here too, as far as training sequences.
Yes.
And they really focus and they really show us here, at least Kylo Ren and Rey training against, at times, multiple foes. And one thing that I want to throw out there, because we do see Kylo Ren at one point fighting 2 individuals. And there's been some images released, and there's a Jack-specific action figure of these. I think they're called Praetorian Guards, and they're kind of the equivalent to the Emperor Royal Guards for Snoke. They're kind of all in red. They're these red-clad kind of uniforms and all that, or armor, and they look quite interesting. And there's a scene there where it looks like Kylo's battling 2 characters with staffs. So they're either these Praetorian Guards or I can't remember how it says. Anyways, or they could be the Knights of Ren or something to that effect, or Luke and Rey at the same time. And one thing that we haven't really ever talked about here, and one thing I want to get out there is, what are your thoughts on a redemptive arc for Kylo Ren, akin to somewhat of Darth Vader's in the original trilogy? Because if you look at the path of Darth Vader, so we got Anakin Skywalker in the prequel trilogy. He feels this pull to the dark side, which is a bit opposite of what we get for Kylo Ren. But he eventually destroys the Jedi Order and hunts down the other Jedis and kills them all, right? And then he kills what essentially is his father figure in Ben Kenobi. Yeah. And that allows him to fully cross over into what you would consider kind of a full Sith, we'll say. Or fully into the dark side, immerse himself in that. You look at Kylo Ren, he is struggling kind of in the opposite direction, where he's being pulled more towards the light, where I always saw Anakin being pulled more towards the dark.
Right.
But he, at least from what we know, seems to go through a similar arc in the sense that he destroys the new Jedi Order, hunts down, presumably, and kills with the Knights of Ren whatever remaining Jedi there are, and then eventually kills his father. In the same light that Anakin did, that he needed to kind of end Obi-Wan before he became a full Sith or become fully immersed in the dark side. Kylo thought he needed to do that for himself to fully transform into what he thought he should be in kind of this image of Darth Vader.
Right.
Do you want to see Kylo redeemed after killing his father, after destroying the Jedi Order, in the same light that Anakin was in Return of the Jedi? Like, I don't think we're going to get quite there here, but we could start to see seeds of that. Like, is that a direction do you think they're going to go with Kylo Ren, or are they going to kind of go in a different way and kind of have him be a full-on evil dude?
Yeah, it doesn't bother me either way they go. It just matters how they execute it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I from what we've seen of Kylo Ren in the first one, or episode 7, he just doesn't seem like the big bad. Obviously, we know he's not the big bad because there's Snoke, obviously, right? But he just doesn't seem, I don't want to say this, but he just doesn't seem that important for me to care which way he does go. Mm. It's just a matter of it being fresh, and you can't just completely jack the exact same thing he did with Anakin, so it has to be a little different. But I don't know, he killed Han Solo, so it's a little tough to redeem yourself from that. But then there's always the argument, well, Anakin killed younglings and he killed a whole bunch of Jedis, and he still redeemed himself. But I guess Anakin at the end of the day was the chosen one. Was Kylo Ren's kind of more of a pretender, but seems to be pulled to the light. He seems to struggle with that a lot more. I guess we also just need more movies of the character too.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I personally, man, I'm not really on board with this idea of a redemptive Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it, to be honest with you. I don't want to see Rey and him switch sides.
Oh, okay. You don't think it'd be cool to see Rey on the dark side, eh?
You know, do I want her to be a classic, this perfect at everything, she's fully immersed in the light side? Yeah. Because that really will reflect what we see in Luke Skywalker, right?
Yeah.
Kind of this hero's journey that he kind of goes through. Do I want to see her go through that? Or I just don't. We need to see Last Jedi, I guess. But I just don't fully buy that, 1, Kylo can be redeemed, and 2, that Rey could be yanked to the light side.
Or the dark side.
Or the dark side, sorry. Yeah. You look how she resisted Kylo Ren, like in The Force Awakens, and how she just has this presence that screams light side.
Yeah, she's just pure. We haven't seen any hints of darkness in her whatsoever.
And you get that from Anakin in the prequels right away, right?
Right at the beginning, as being a slave, right?
Yeah, his frustration and the way he acts towards Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars.
Yes.
And you get into episode 3 as he grows, and like you sense that, right? You get that idea that he's being pulled towards the dark side.
Yeah.
And I never once got that off Rey.
Right.
Not a single bit.
Yeah.
And I just don't see yet how the story can twist and turn so much that we end up with, at the end of The Last Jedi, Kylo on one side and Rey on the other.
Do you think it'd be more earned if we saw Kylo be redeemed, if we had more time with him, even going, let's say, during the times of Bloodlines when he's out there training with Luke, if we got more with that character, the younger Kylo Ren, back when he was on the good side, or not?
Like, I feel like you'd get a lot of Anakin Skywalker from Kylo Ren if you were to get him in novel form.
Yes.
You'd get a lot of this resistance to being trained in a certain way, and kind of frustration with his power set and how he seems to be more powerful and maybe he's not being taught in the same way. Like, I feel like you get a lot of the same sort of characteristics that you feel or you get from Anakin in the prequel trilogy. You'd see those reflected in Kylo Ren.
Right.
Or in Ben Solo, I guess, at that point.
Right.
I think the only way you could really roll out a redemptive arc that I would buy into is he has to save Leia in some sense.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to craft that.
And I guess, that's always been kind of Star Wars storytelling, right? Look at Ezra. He kind of walked the Anakin path too. He is kind of whiny. He kind of was tempted by the dark side. We saw over this last season that he's kind of overcome it and he's been redeemed, and he doesn't look like he's going to go down the dark side. And there's plenty of other books too that you can go down to. Revan, there's always been that turn of the dark side. So we've seen it countless amount of times. Revan's another Jedi / Sith that's been redeemed, went to the dark side and has been redeemed. He's kind of gone back and forth. So even though that's not canon anymore anyways, but I guess it's just a common theme all throughout Star Wars. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of how they pull it off, and the fact that they are both Skywalkers is just a little too similar, right?
You think Rey Skywalker, huh?
Or sorry, Kylo Solo, Ben Solo. I call him a Skywalker, but
I'm sorry. I thought you meant that him and Rey.
Rey, yeah, no, I meant Anakin and Ben Solo.
Okay,
yeah. I'm pretty much 100% sure Rey won't go the dark side. It would be cool just to see, but I don't think she's going down that route. Yeah. She might just end up becoming completely her own thing, if anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah. We get a little bit of insight from this behind the scenes, but man, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, and some of the other characters that we do see in here, we get Poe, we get Finn, we get this Rose character as well. They seem to be going off on their own story arc through the majority of The Last Jedi, at least.
Yeah.
Which I think is cool. We're going to kind of be building two storylines and kind of building up this more resistance idea, and also we're going to be focusing a lot more in on the Jedi aspect.
Empire.
Of it. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So and people are going to talk about this. I think you can see it from the trailer. You can see it from these behind the scenes. Is that there's going to be some reflection of Empire in this, and why wouldn't you want to do it? It's one of the best films of all time.
Oh yeah.
We're going to get walkers. We're going to get, again, similar arcs for characters. Where
training montages
and all that with your Jedi Master, and potentially a sacrifice towards the end and all that. It could end on quite a dark note as well. So I don't think that's a problem for me. Some people are going to come out and say, and I think there was a tweet at some point where someone said, Rian Johnson, you're just copying The Empire Strikes Back. And he responded right back and said, I haven't spent the last 3 years of my life rewriting Empire Strikes Back. So you're going to see parallels, and you see parallels in Rebels. You see it like all over the place. And I think that they're going to, of course, going to take cues from Empire and that. And I think, again, it comes down to execution, but also make it their own.
Yes.
And take things their own direction. You saw that in The Force Awakens, right? You see a lot of A New Hope in there.
Yeah.
And you're going to see, I think, a lot of Empire here, but that's a good thing.
It is. Yeah. It's definitely nothing to complain about.
No. Overall, the sets and all that we're seeing here, we see kind of, I think, Dubrovnik's one of the main sets, the Octu, sorry, that we do see Rey and Luke on quite a bit here. What are your overall feeling for how things look? There's a Crete or whatever it's called, where we do see kind of the red minerals and kind of the salt flats and all that.
Yeah.
We do get some space battles in here. How are you feeling about the overall aesthetic of the film and what you got from this footage here?
It looks great. Octu's always special to see the look of that island. It's great. Yeah, Skelly Island. Yeah, it just looks phenomenal. All the set pieces look good. They look practical. No, they're not green screens, so that's always a good start. But yeah, no, everything looks fresh. I don't have any complaints whatsoever with that. Yeah, how are you feeling feeling off of that?
Oh, I really love what they're doing here. The
Yeah.
aesthetic of the film looks a bit darker tone than we got from The Force Awakens.
Yes.
Which I think is appropriate for potentially what they're doing with the overall storyline.
Mm-hmm.
I just love this red. Like it seems that you're getting kind of a little bit darker everything, and then you get these big flashes of color.
Yes.
And then you add in Canto Bight in here, which is going to be pop of
Yes.
color. You got Laura Dern's character who's got purple hair.
Yeah, Hunger Games-ish. It's
Yes.
so different, but kind of just so needed too at the same time.
Exactly. We're going to get kind of this higher end, higher class. And we get some of that in Bloodlines as well,
Exactly,
right?
yes.
So I'm hoping that they're going to parallel what we saw in that, or at least what we read in that.
Right.
And kind of what I've got this image in my mind of this higher class, kind of Hosnian Prime type
Right.
atmosphere and all that. And they're going to kind of reflect that a bit in here.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it looks good. It looks good.
And then costumes here too. So we see Luke in multiple costumes. And what do you think of his second look here, where it's kind of more of a Qui-Gon look to him almost? He's got kind of like the darker tunic and everything kind of going on there.
It's different for
Yeah.
Luke there. Yeah, it's pretty cool, but I guess at a little bit at the same time, a little reminiscent of his Return of the Jedi.
Yeah,
gear.
yeah, actually, you're right.
You
Yeah,
know,
definitely.
it's a little bit there. No lightsabers popping up on his side, so nothing green.
Mm-hmm.
That's the mystery there. But everything looks cool. Finn looks pretty much the same.
Yeah.
I see him a couple times wearing that jacket, but it looks a little more filled out. Looks like he's been hitting that gym pretty
Bulked
hard.
up.
He's bulked right up.
I noticed one thing about Finn though throughout here. He has two different haircuts.
Yes.
He has kind of his episode 7 haircut,
Yeah.
and then he seems to kind of get trimmed down the side of it.
Yeah, it
more.
has the line going on.
Yeah.
So I noticed that. Everybody else pretty much looks the same. Daisy Ray's character. I really like that outfit that she's been rocking
Yeah.
too, that we mentioned previously in this episode with the figure line. So
Yeah,
yeah,
She's
everything's
cool on
good.
that. At one point at the end there too, she's got the hood up.
Yes,
and lights
that's
this-
one of my favorite scenes in
Oh,
this trailer or this
just
reel. Yeah,
pure Jedi. There.
it's great.
Ah.
It looks good. Kylo Ren's suit looks pretty much similar.
Yeah, he's
He
got
has
the
cape.
the Vader looking cape.
Yes,
There's
or-
rumors going on for a long time that actually is a Vader cape.
Vader's cape. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I've been hearing too. So it's kind of cool how it just folds over, kind of Krennic like, but
Yeah.
black. So that looks good. His helmet's still intact, but we do see the scar,
Yes.
obviously going on,
Yeah.
which has been changed.
So rumors are that we're going to see him for the majority of the movie without the mask on.
Yes.
Thoughts on that?
It's fine by me, but I know the general audience out there is not going to like that. I think a lot more people like him with the helmet
Yeah.
on, and I do too.
I'm one of them, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm a sucker for the scars. The
Yeah.
scars are cool.
Less poofy hair.
Yes, yes.
If they can make his hair a bit more streamlined, throw some product in it or something, I'd be way more on board with that.
Yeah, no, I agree because it's a really cool mask.
Yeah.
They came up with something cool, but you got to change up the style a little bit. I think Vader's the only character you can really kind of keep in that suit and keep it the same for the three or the whole trilogy.
Yeah, and that's one thing I loved about the reveal of Kylo Ren in episode 7 was that when he took the mask off, you're expecting like a Vader, like a scarred up.
yeah.
And he was just like this like young, like clean shaven, no
Yeah.
scars, nothing. I
Nothing,
really like
no
that.
scruff or anything.
Yeah,
it's
and I
like,
think you're
wow.
gonna see him slowly evolve into more of a Vader looking, where
I hope
he
so.
may lose his arm in this one or something.
right.
Right?
That's
Someone's got to
right.
lose an arm.
Someone's gonna burn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we get our first look here at Benicio del Toro's character.
Yeah,
They
DJ.
call DJ.
Yeah.
Any more thoughts on who this guy could be? I think he's an original character.
He's an
but-
original character. I guess Ryan Johnson came out and,
Oh, did he say
and
that?
debunked it. He said he's not Ezra. So all those theories, sorry.
Sorry, guy.
Shut
I
down.
never bought into
Yeah,
that.
never bought it.
anyways.
It had me for a minute. I thought it would have been really cool. I mean, obviously they know what they're doing. They know the story, what's going on. So that's cool. But man, I'm hoping for Ezra to pop up somehow, some way in the later trilogy. But yeah, he looks cool. He seems like what you kind of said, a little smugglerish, like a
Yeah.
spice dealer of some sort.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. Be interesting to see. I think that when you look at, we're kind of stepping into Rebels here, but leaping off from the conversations we had about this change and evolution of the Force and all that, I think Rebels is going to play into that this season. I think Kanan is going to become something beyond a Jedi.
Right.
And we may get hints. I'd love if we got hints of that in this movie.
That'd be great.
But the season won't be over prior to this coming out.
That's true. That's true. But that would be cool to see, especially because if he became something bigger or just something different, then that would make sense why he was never mentioned as another Jedi.
I think that's how they're not kill him off, but kind of push him outside of the original trilogy in the presence of a Jedi and all that.
So that's one way down, and then that's one Jedi down. Ezra's still floating. What to do with that character? How do you dodge that? Especially when he's encountered Obi-Wan already.
And 10 episodes left.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Somebody might bite it. Who knows?
Oh man. And like we talked about, we're just kind of playing it here as we go through in the background here, and looking at the training montages and the people having fun on set.
Yes.
And John Boyega, he's quickly becoming one of my favorite actors.
Oh yeah, he's great.
Yeah, we're gonna see him in a Pacific Rim sequel.
Pretty
We're gonna
soon.
see him in a few other movies here.
Yeah,
he looks awesome, and we see in this couple scenes here him with this Rose character, and they're kind of dressed up in the Imperial garb or the First Order garb and all that. So it looks like, again, continuing on with their separate storyline and infiltrating the Empire on some other mission.
Yes.
I love that we're going to get this great holistic story, but telling kind of smaller stories within inside.
Yes, and keeping up the Star Wars tradition by having your good guys constantly go undercover in the First Order, or I guess before it would have just been the Empire gear, right? We had it previously in Rogue One, which was great, and they're doing it again.
We get the Stormtrooper outfits,
and A New Hope, right? So they're continuing that fad. That's cool.
Long-lasting tradition.
Yeah. And classic BB-8 popping up here, some more choreographed fights, which is just always great to see.
Yeah. Oh man, it's really, really nice to see Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher interacting here.
Yes.
It really makes me think that we're going to get a full reunion of the two of them.
We really need to.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
Man, there's this whole experience already with, The Force Awakens leading into The Last Jedi here.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And when they show things like this, I feel like we're along for the ride.
Yes.
And it really brings me into the Star Wars universe again. And I always say, like, we have things like with Comic-Con, like I'm super jacked up for Infinity War, and that's on another level for me. And then we swing back over to Star Wars, and we're getting all this content. And the thing that I've always loved about Star Wars, and that I've always found intriguing about it, is that it lends itself to the development of so much extended universe content. You look at Marvel, DC, whatever, outside of the comic books, we're just talking about the film here. That universe, you don't see, even the Prelude comics now suck.
Yeah.
Because they're just adaptations of the movies. They're not adding anything else to the universe.
Yeah.
Where you look at what Star Wars does, every single day I feel like we get another little tidbit of what's going on in the greater universe.
Yes.
And I just love consuming all of that different media, whether it's comics or books or whatever, cartoons, anything. Like, it's all out there for consumption. And just this universe is always building. It feels humongous, but at the same time, it feels accessible. And I freaking love that about Star Wars.
Yeah, especially because it gives you the opportunity to pick and choose what you want to bite and what you don't want to.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, you just don't know. But if you do, for all those guys out there, for everybody out there, not just guys, sorry, but for everybody out there that pays attention and buys these books and these figures and all the media, really, it's those little Easter eggs. They really do pay off. They're just so cool to catch on to. And I really got to say, reading these books has just been great because you really get to grab those Easter eggs.
Yeah, you're on the inside. And the nice thing about Easter eggs, and the thing I love about them in movies, is that shows you that the writers, the directors, and the people involved in the movies are really paying attention, and that they're fans of the source material as well.
Yeah.
They're fans of Star Wars universe. They're fans of the Star Wars universe. You look at, or you listen to the people on the panels from the publishing, and they're telling stories about how they first got into Star Wars and how they're trying to bring their children into it. And it just means a lot to me that there's people out there that are contributing to this universe, whether it's written or film or whatever, that have the same passion for these films and same passion for this universe that I do.
Yes.
And so it just makes me appreciate all of it so much.
For sure. There's just that much more care and pride in this. Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Gotta love it. It's quite a time to be a Star Wars fan. We're getting hotels, like life-size lands, books, movies, everything.
We're in good hands.
We are. And the collecting is on another level here.
It's crazy.
We got Force Friday 2 coming up here. Unfortunately, due to work, I have to miss it. But Troy's going to be there standing in for the both of us. Yeah. Hopefully there's no limits. I'd love my F8.
Hopefully the figures are there.
Yeah, that would be nice. So they did tease it a bit at the panel about they got big things coming and all that and big things planned. They didn't really want to tell us much. So hopefully there's a successful Force Friday 2 for you. Yeah. And hopefully you can grab me a little something.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Got that list.
Yeah.
Got that list.
So that about wraps up our Star Wars talk. I'm sure there's going to be other things that are trickling out here over the next couple weeks. Yeah. And I really look forward to jumping into a bit more detail on the books in the future here. And hopefully we have some time to spend on discussing the comic books, because we got the Maul series came to an end a week or two ago with the 5 issues.
Okay, I'm down. I gotta get that fifth issue there.
And Darth Vader is
kicking ass.
Another level here. Screaming Citadel is coming to an end, and I absolutely love that. And yeah, it's just, like I said, hell of a time to be a Star Wars fan.
It's the best. It's the best. Yep.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed our two-part episode here. We got the DC Marvel talk on part 1. So if you haven't checked that out, step back an episode or part of an episode and check that out. That's covering San Diego Comic-Con and D23, mostly from the film studio and a little bit of the collecting end from Marvel. And then I hope you guys enjoyed our Star Wars talk here. We always love talking Star Wars, and having a dedicated episode for all the announcements we felt was appropriate. And man, do I love talking Star Wars.
Love talking it. Always.
Speaking about talking Star Wars, why don't you go visit the other guys over at the Star Wars Commonwealth too? Because they have also been throwing down some incredible content in relation to the announcements here. We got great speculation on all of the different Commonwealth podcasts, and that includes Talk Star Wars, Tumbling Saber, Generation X-Wing, Skyhoppers podcast, the Rogue Squadron podcast, and the San Diego Sabres podcast. I know San Diego Sabres themselves were also down at San Diego Comic-Con, and they've got some nice wrap-up episode, I think in their episode that dropped either Monday or Tuesday. So go check them out as well. They'll have some nice insights, as did Sanjay, to what it was like being on the floor at San Diego Comic-Con as well. And if you'd like to be a part of this show, you can always email us at thenerdrm@gmail.com. You can hit us up on our website at thenerdroom.net. Just go over to the contacts and email us from there. You can always hit us up on Twitter. Our handles are at the end of the episode. Or you can comment on our Facebook or YouTube pages. We're going to be coming back to you guys in the coming weeks with a whole bunch of catch-up episodes. We've got a lot of comics to get through, some of the TV stuff, and there's Force Friday coming down here in a couple of weeks. We're going to speculate on that. And we've got a few movies that we have to discuss here, too. We've got Dunkirk, which was sitting at the top of a lot of our lists. War for the Planet of the Apes, we did discuss briefly in our Marvel and DC episode. Let's go back and check that. I'd like to discuss that in a little more depth. And we've also got a huge slate coming down for November. We've got The Kingsman, The Golden Circle coming up here. And, of course, we've got The Last Jedi coming in December. This is going to be an incredible end to the year into what's already been a very, very good season for movies.
It's been stacked.
It has been. All right, guys, until next week for the Nerd Room, I'm Tim.
I'm Troy.
And thank you for entering the Nerd Room.
This has been a Nerd Room podcast production. You can find our hosts, Tim and Troy, on Twitter at TheNerdRM and Troy TheBoy87. Don't forget to subscribe to the Nerd Room on iTunes, Facebook, and YouTube. Just search the Nerd Room Podcast. Be sure to head over to StarWarsCommonwealth.com to find other podcasts on the Star Wars Commonwealth Podcast Network, including Talk Star Wars, Generation X-Wing, Tumbling Saber, Rogue Squadron Podcast, and the Skyhopper Podcast. Follow the Star Wars Commonwealth on Twitter at SW Commonwealth and take your first steps into a larger world.